Hi, hello, hi, and welcome to all our hearts and minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart,
Yeah.
and then there's me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Okay, we're back again for a new episode.
Mm-hmm.
Kimmy, how was your week, friend? Let's check up and check in.
Right? It was okay. This past week, the weather has just been so
Yeah, Toronto has
yeah.
got hit,
What?
okay? This side
What?
of the country, anywhere in the northeast side, I'm sure in New York it was probably bad too. We've been
It's
getting
just
hit.
yeah, and it's like, you know what? I realized that I've been spoiled because this is how it used to be when I was a kid, you know what I mean? And I just feel like I have been spoiled to the point where I don't know what to do with myself when there's this much snow.
Yeah, man,
Um,
because if you're honest, it's still kind of soft. Like we're getting the winter is
it
soft.
is. It really is. Because when I think back when I was a kid, this was like an everyday occurrence. Like,
We'd
when the
have
winter
weeks of
hit,
this.
it
We'd
was
have weeks and
right.
weeks of this. Yeah.
Weeks and weeks, and the little 72 hours come knock me out, boy. It come knock me out right out. But no, I've been kind of, just like getting back into the swing of things because, it's kind of a downtime too, when we have this much snow. Like last weekend, we
Yeah.
were snowed in, and the whole city has been trying to recover ever
Mm,
since. And
yeah.
I feel like I've been one of those people who have been trying to recover. Like the little 72 hours knocked me out, like knocked me clear out. But overall, the week has been okay. I can't really complain. Work has been work, and the house has been the house. Like everything's
Yeah.
all right.
Everything's all right. Yeah, that's all
How
right.
about you? How about you? How's your week?
My week was okay. It was interesting. I was just it was a very busy week. It was an
Mm-hmm.
interesting week because I yeah, like you said, the weather was shitty from the weekend.
Like just garbage,
So I was like locked up. Well, we had something here called Family Day. We did Family Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I hung out with my sister and my nieces and nephews, which we haven't really gotten together since the holiday. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a nice little catch up. Since we couldn't do anything, might as well lock up and chill out at my
Right?
sister's house. And then in the week, I was preparing for some business work, some business travel. So I did travel to Montreal for work purposes and came back with a cold. That's why I sound very stuffy and weird right now. But
I know.
um
Just make sure you get your rest and drink your water.
exactly. But Montreal pretty much got it like us and worse. So I was like, get me out of here.
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
then I took a plane, everybody. If everybody's been watching the news, I
Mm-mm.
mean, we didn't talk about this on our headlines, but anybody who not watches the news, we all know what happened to Pearson Airport with
Mm-hmm.
the Delta Airlines. So imagine me on a plane, uh,
Right?
hearing that a day or two after hearing that news. So yeah,
Right?
that was my week.
Right?
um,
And when because I sent you a picture, a little clip of it, and you're like, "Yeah, I have to fly tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh shit, oh
don't
shit,
worry,
Kim."
every my sister and my. You're not the only one who I know you didn't do that on purpose,
No,
but it's so
because I
funny.
totally forgot that you had to travel. You told me that you did, right? But I
Yeah,
forgot.
I know you forgot, but
And then
it's
I
so
send the
funny.
clip everybody, and she's like, "Yeah, thanks. I have to travel tomorrow on the plane." I'm like, "Oh shit."
And it's so well. I know you did that with pure intentions, but my when I was spending family day with my sister and my niece, I was like, "Oh man, you guys have to travel, and all this crazy accident just happened in Pearson." And they're
Right?
like, so the next day they were sending me some videos as well. So I was like, "Listen, I just say my prayer and jump on that plane and do my
Did you
business,
see what
right?"
I'm saying?
But yeah, other than that,
hmm
and prayers up to the people that had that this thank God everybody was okay
Exactly.
with that Delta accident, but it has because this was the third one in a short span of time. So a
Yeah.
lot of people with the right reason is just like what the heck is going on in North American airports.
I don't
Um
understand it. I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
Yeah. And
You
there's
know.
a lot of blame game. I mean, we this wasn't really on our docket to discuss, but it is very interesting. And there's a lot of theories been going around about, and especially with the layoffs that have been going on with the federal government, which a part of the organization, something air, the federal air, something that group of people, or there's pretty much a government agency that's in charge of air safety and stuff.
That's right.
And a rumor, I haven't done my correct, I haven't vetted it, but it would make sense with all the layoffs going on in the federal government in the US. Some of those people that have been affected are people in that
Mhm.
organization.
Yes.
Something that we can talk about in our next episode, now that we
Yes.
we kind of went on a little tangent, but it's a very interesting occurrence that I really want to dig deep into.
Yeah, because it's happening both here in Canada and a lot in the United States, and in within the last couple of months. Like it's I've never seen anything like this. But yeah, we should definitely take the time and discuss that. But for now, I
Mhm.
mean, it just seems like wow, there's so many.
Yeah. And so you can imagine when I was coming back, so going to Montreal was fine.
Mhm.
Coming back, and the airport that I fly in is not Pearson because I purposely didn't book it. Well, actually, I didn't know this was going to happen, but usually I try to avoid Pearson because it's such a busy international
Yeah, it is.
airport, and this is a short flight, so I don't really want to get tied up with all the international stuff. So I
Mhm.
go to our local Toronto airport, which is Billy Bishop, that happens to be over Lake Ontario. And the thing, when you have weather, any type of weather fluctuations on top of a body of water, it's always even more intense. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when I was coming back in, there was a little turbulence, but honestly, it's expected to get a little bit turbulence if you're come flying in the winter or a storm coming into this airport, because it's just the nature of the weather in that area. But it was like you could hear a pin drop. Okay, let me tell you how you
Jesus.
could hear a pin drop when the little
Jeez.
piece of turbulence started happening. I
Mm-mm.
saw a girl grip up her chair a little bit, but everybody kept her cool. I was like, everybody kept her
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Just
um,
try your best.
Try your
Yes.
best. So,
Mm-hmm.
but thank God, I arrived safely and I'm here, and
Yes.
now we're recording. So yeah, everything's all right.
Mm-hmm. But I told you, I said God got you. He got you long time. So, you'll be all right. And now look, we're here recording.
Now we're here
So,
recording. So, all
mm-hmm.
right, so it's great. We sounding like we're doing all right. We're doing good,
Mm-hmm. Trying to
and
make it true. That's
trying to
all.
make it through the winter. That's where
Shit.
that's where we're at right now. Um, so thanks again for tuning in, everybody. And as a reminder, as you listen to this episode, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening, please give the podcast a rating, a like, a star, follow, a comment, whatever you want. Let us know you're listening
Subscription,
and you
whatever.
wanna
Everybody
whatever.
just.
Yeah. Let us know you're listening, and we appreciate that. All right. So we'll jump right into the headlines. So we'll start not in any particular order, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this week, ASAP Rocky,
Yes.
our boy ASAP Rocky, aka his real name, born name Rakim Mears. Um,
Rakim, like
Rakim,
really.
Rakim
Mm-hmm.
or Rakim, I'm not sure, but he was found not guilty on this week of not shooting his former collaborator. Um,
Right?
and he was the relief went through his body like you wouldn't
What?
believe. He
um,
dived through when he got that verdict. He pushed everybody away. He hugged his lawyer, of course. Then he
right?
pushed everybody out of the way to get to Rihanna, who's his baby mother, his woman, and literally
Mm-mm.
dropped in her arms. he
Right?
he was like, "Thank you." When somebody's relieved. Of
Right?
course, anybody's gonna be relieved, but he was a little literal, physical manifestation of "Thank you, Jesus."
Right? He just fell in her arms like they were gonna lock me up, baby. They were gonna throw away the key, girl. He fell into her arms like he was like, "Thank you, Jesus, you came into the situation." I
Mhm.
can't. No, because they were gonna put him up for all 20 odd years. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
come on. I
And
know
to
he
be
saw his
honest,
life flash between flash. Woo. Like, yeah, but now I hear that him
mhm.
and Rihanna are supposedly getting married. That's what I
I
heard. I
mean,
heard the
it's only
rumors.
I would love that, to be honest,
But
at
then
this
I've
point.
actually heard that they're already married.
That I mean, I don't know what they did, but maybe they want to do a public wedding, whatever it is. Listen, I'm here for it. They already have they started the family already.
Right?
They look happy. They look, you know what I mean? Why
The
not?
way
Just
that man dove into Rihanna's arms, let me tell you, he was like, happiness just flashed in front of his eyes. He's like,
yes.
listen, I'm not letting these people take my happiness. Like, I need my kids, I need my
Yeah.
woman. Like, he looks so like because she's been beside his side the whole time. Like,
Yes,
this is
yes.
a 4 year coming, eh? This is a
Mhm.
can you
It
imagine
was
this
a
has been going
long
on for the last 4 years?
yeah, to be honest, I even forgot what happened. I'm like, why is he on trial? Like, I don't even
Right?
understand. Like what's happening?
Well, ASAP decided before he was with Rihanna that he was going to take himself over to the big Paris, okay, and get into confrontations and things.
Mhm.
Well, as soon as he got off the plane, when he when he got back to America, they arrested him.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
four
so
year
this
coming.
trial was specifically because he has honestly he had a few things going on. So you know, he if we're really honest, before he got with Rihanna, he was doing he was doing a little too much, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see that he has calmed his ass right on down because guess what? The way he flew across the chair. Okay, it was a man that learned his damn lesson. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yeah,
like
at least he better. So
right.
the trial was actually for the he had an altercation with somebody from the ASAP crew, which is ASAP
Mhm,
Relly, and it
mhm,
happened in a Hollywood hotel in 2021.
mhm,
And so, but to your point, I think you brought this up when we were talking about the case. The trial hinged on the jurors' final assessment of the gun used in the incident, because
mhm,
everybody thought it was a real gun, a semi-automatic firearm that he used to
mhm,
shoot at ASAP Relly, and it
mhm.
was instead witnesses or his defense was basically um,
Wasn't
staying
real.
on the yeah, it was a prop gun. So it
Mhm.
was a prop gun acquired from a music video that he was using. It was not a real gun that he used on ASAP Relly.
And
So that
it
was the
makes
reason why
sense
he was able
because
to.
when
Mhm. Go
sorry,
ahead.
it makes sense that that is true because ASAP has been chill this whole time. Listen, this happened back in 2021.
Hmm.
It's been a 4 year battle. And I feel like he knew the entire time he was going to get off because he knew that the gun that he had wasn't real. I feel like he knew it because he was way too comfortable. He was way too calm.
Hmm.
He was living his best life. I was like, okay, ASAP, you must know something nobody else knows. But go on.
Hmm.
Yes. So it was a prop. Can you imagine? Big ASAP Rocky. It was a prop. Well,
Hmm.
it got him off.
We got him off. And so like we said, prayers up to him and Rihanna, and hopefully this is behind him in every shape or form, and he can move on with his business and his family. To be honest, that's really all I have to say about that.
Yes, and I'm happy that he was found not guilty,
Hmm.
and I'm happy that those two little boys get to have their dad
Hmm.
because they were fixing to put him away for a long time. Those babies would have been grown men by the time he got out.
Hmm.
So I'm glad, and I hope to see that he gets married to Rihanna now
Hmm.
because he jumped over that chair like his life depended on it. You understand?
Yeah, that was.
And Rihanna took it in like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. This man is not gonna get locked up. I'm not gonna be a single mom of these two boys. Like, you can see the relief in her face
Hmm.
too, But yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So next story, another person who got out of trouble was Jay-Z. Well, the dismissal happened a few weeks ago. I'd say a couple of weeks ago. So the charges that were put up against somebody tying Jay Z to something with Diddy in a MTV award incident, which we talked about, where the case was literally falling apart because the witness, or the sorry victim,
Mhm.
went on TV and just completely dismantled her whole story. Right? She pretty much handed that to them. So anyway, the case was officially dropped February 14th.
Wow.
So that was last week. And
Mhm.
he has now, not only, yes, it's dropped. Most back in the day, a case was dropped, you make your statement and you move on. Nah, nah, nah,
Right?
nah, 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 nah. Jay-Z is, excuse me, not having that. The lawyer, again, the Tony Buzzbee character, which they've had a very contentious back and forth ever since the case added Jay-Z, they added Jay-Z to that original, I don't know, accusation.
Right.
And so he made it his mission to fight back. And from when they first released, remember, he had that scathing letter
Right?
calling him a 1-800 lawyer. All
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And now he has released another statement since the day of the dismissal, saying, I'll just read it. It was on his Rock Nation page. He doesn't really do an Instagram. On the Rock Nation page, he said, "Today is a victory. The frivolous, fictitious, appalling allegations have been dismissed. The civil suit was without merit and never was going any was never and never going anywhere. The fictional tale they created was laughable. If not for the seriousness of the claims, I would not wish this experience on anyone.
Huh.
The trauma that my wife, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed. This 1-800 lawyer gets to file a suit hiding behind Jane Doe, and when they quickly realize that the money grab is going to fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions. The system has failed. The court must protect victims, of course, while with the same ethical responsibility, the courts must protect the innocent from being accused without a shred of evidence. May the truth prevail for all victims and those accused, falsely accused, equally." Um,
Jay, shut the hell up. You got right by this. Why does he have to do? Listen, you got over this. Just keep it pushing. Like, I don't understand, why are you rattling the cage?
that's one way of looking at it, because back in the day people would do that, but I do think in this day and age when people can just say anything, I think there was another statement, I don't have it in front of me, since this one, because I think he has filed a lawsuit against the lawyer since this period, or at least a disposition, not maybe the official suit, but like a petition to sue.
mm-hmm.
Um, and because he lost money, he lost deals. Like, it was maybe not something like forefront like we'd see, but he did lose some deals because of the accusations, right? And I think of I yeah, like I said, back in the day, maybe people would just be happy that the case got dismissed. But I think you kind of have to discourage. You do kind of have to put your foot down and discourage. Like, if you're gonna come have a case, have like a real case. Like,
and
have
and and the case that they decided to try to sue him with, I agree with you. It was
yes, it
garbage.
was
It was
garbage.
garbage. I get it, right? Here's the thing though. They're trying to pin you to Puffy.
Yeah.
So how about we scourge on by and keep it moving, okay? Because they're coming for you, right?
And I think he
So
knows. And I think he
you,
knows that. That's why I feel like he wants to be like, don't come. Like, if you're gonna come at me, you better come at me with something. Don't start all this
right,
kerfuffle
right.
with this.
But
Like,
then
now.
people are going to start digging, Jay. Like, if
Mm,
it's like don't tempt the beast, you know what I
mm,
mean?
mm.
Like, they're trying desperately to pin you to Puffy, and they're looking into your life, and I'm just saying, if you were able to scritch on by because of this, this, uh, It was an awful lawsuit. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
really? Like, come on now. Especially the girl, like, she didn't even know what the hell she was talking about half the time. Okay, so I can understand that he wants to like tell them, beware, don't come for me unless you got some real facts. But
Hmm.
that's also you're challenging people.
Yeah, it's like a calling. I get what you're saying. A
You
calling
know,
card
you're
or something. Yeah.
challenging them to look deeper and to make something stick. And I'm sorry, but Jay, when you won't take that paternity test for that young man that has been saying for years you're his father, you look shifty to me. You look shifty. You've even sung about in your own songs that you were a drug dealer, you moved weight. Yeah, that's not exactly, a reputable career. Okay? So for me, you've done some shady shit in your past. Don't call people's attention to it. That's all I'm saying. I mean, they're trying to pin you, and look, this is an example of them trying to pin you to Puffy and Puffy's behavior, because all throughout what that girl said, it was at Puffy's house, it was a Puffy party. Okay, so I'm just saying, don't rattle the beast. You were able to get by this time. I think you should kind of lay low and stop trying to tempt people to make something stick, because you haven't been squeaky clean out here in these streets. So there's something. You've just been smarter, just like Jaguar Wright said. You are the smarter of the two. Puffy was lazy and sloppy. You are the smarter of the two. So if you're able to get by, not that I'm condoning, any of that. I think that you should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law if you did criminal activity. However, do not call their attention to it, Jay. Don't get cocky now. That's all I'm saying. Don't get
Hmm.
cocky now, because people will look. They will look. So, like, I think he should be careful with that. Just a little bit. Just a wee bit. I know you're Jay-Z and you have big money and all of that, but this should humble you. This experience, because if you are doing dirt out in the street, they're getting close. So maybe you should shut the hell up and let them pass on by and focus on somebody else, instead of you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't know, Jay. Talk too damn much if you ask me. I think you should just, sue them privately. Sue them, if you want to sue them privately. Get your money, whatever it is. Your name has already been tarnished. People have been trying to pin you to Puffy way before this lawsuit ever came about. So I'm just saying. I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes, but yeah, there's some merit to what you're saying too. You might be making it might be a dog whistle for some other lawyers, some
Well,
other
I
one eight
mean,
hundred lawyers.
you're just calling people to look deeper into your past. Like, you should want people to kind of forget you right now and focus on your wife. She just won, the Grammys, you know,
She's about to go
like
on
she's going
tour.
on tour,
She just released another fragrance.
right? Your daughter was just in the Lion King the other day. You know what I mean? Like, let's focus, let's push them into the forefront and let people focus on them a little bit. And in the background, if you want to sue this lawyer, go ahead. But I think that you should really just, you know, um, count your days, Jay, because they're coming for you. Like, if this didn't show you that they're coming for you, and that even this stupid lawsuit that they tried to put forth, look how it destroyed you.
Yeah,
And it
he
wasn't
lost. He
even
lost money.
real.
He lost millions. He
Okay?
said in the petition.
So
Yeah.
let them not find something that's true, or can be proven, or the witness is willing to be bought. I'm just saying, Jay. You should take your win, slip off into the abyss for a little while. Let us focus on the good that you have going on, like your wife and your daughter and all of that. You know, Sue the guy in the background. And
Yeah, don't
just
have these public letters like yeah, like he's been swinging at this guy, and I get it because a lawyer tried to extort him before his name was put on that lawsuit. It was an extortion, And so it's a little bit more than just a lawyer who's filed a case, but still it's kind of like you have to do your stuff behind the scenes. Like, don't have these public scathing letters where you're ruffling. Not only are your feathers ruffled, but it's like it's like a dog whistle
Exactly.
all the other lawyers to be like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Mm,
I accept your challenge.
something like that, yeah. But
You know?
anyway, congrats to him, and hopefully they can heal and move on from this for now.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, another legend, Notorious Big, who's passed away over 30 over 25 years now. His mother, Voletta Wallace, recently passed away this week at the age of 78. Voletta
Wow.
Wallace, Jamaican lady.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Jamaican woman, in New York, who was worked as a preschool teacher,
Wow.
and who raised her son as a single mom, and who was Biggie before
Mm-hmm.
he was shot dead at 24. I always forget Biggie was so young. Both
He's
him
such
and
a
Tupac,
young guy.
they both died in that 24. Like, can you imagine Tupac and Biggie were only 24?
24 years old. And look
And
what they
all they
did.
accomplished, what they accomplished at 24?
24. Okay? Okay. When
Damn.
back then it was harder for black men to actually accomplish things,
Mhm.
they didn't have social media.
Yeah, this was
So,
before social media, and they
it,
were like,
right? And they were internationally known.
mm,
Literally internationally known. That's a it's a hard task when you don't have social media. You have to go off of pure talent, merit, word of mouth, people singing your music. Um
mm-hmm.
so, it's sad to see, but 78, I mean, should have quite a good life, her
That's
son,
not bad. That's not
78,
bad.
that's what I'm saying,
It's not
that's pretty
bad.
good.
They said, I looked up to try and find out what the cause was, but
Mhm.
they're just saying natural. But
Mhm.
she was in hospice care a little bit before she passed away in her home. So I'm thinking, because if you look at her, because she was a bigger woman,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
in recent years, when I look at photos, she was getting smaller and smaller. So to me, that's, you know, yes,
There's
his
only a
age
few things that she could have that would cause such
would
weight
cause
loss.
that. But exactly,
Yeah.
right? So maybe she got over it, and then maybe near the end. But either way, she's moved on. She's with her son.
Yeah.
And one thing I would say I admire about her is she always advocated for her son's estate.
That's right.
She always has advocated for her son's legacy.
That's right.
And I could say, I think for the most part she was respected. The industry respected that respected that hold and that image and reputation that she wanted for her son's legacy.
That's right.
Because sometimes, excuse me, hint hint, wink wink, the Whitney Houston estate,
Okay.
unfortunately, it was managed by her sister-in-law and not
Oh.
actual family, which would
Oh, okay.
explain why
Mhm.
it seems like her legacy and her reputation is not being protected. But that's I'm just saying that what's the opposite of what Miss Wallace did for an estate and
Yeah.
legacy versus an estate and legacy where it was looking questionable.
But she's a
Um,
Jamaican mother, so like it's
yeah.
expected. I'm sorry. It's expected because she's not going to let anybody talk about her Christopher however they feel like. Right? So, and I
Mhm,
could expect that from her. And she was really, and a lot of people did respect her. Like a lot of people respected her, and she came for you. If
mhm,
you did anything against that estate, my girl was coming for you.
mhm.
I remember, I think it was a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, when Kylie Jenner, she put Biggie Smalls
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
shirt and was trying to sell the shirt. Oh no. Oh, Miss Wallace said, "Oh no, my dear." Oh no, you're not going to put my son's face plastered all over your shirts and sell them for hundreds of dollars. It
yeah.
doesn't going to work that way. And she made sure she kept, his name and his legacy going. I cannot believe he died at 24.
Mhm.
So that would have made her what? Like
She's 78 now.
40 something.
Should have been in her Yeah, man, maybe mid 40s.
Yeah, around 40 something.
Hmm.
And so to know that she's lived so much longer than her son, right? So RIP to you, Miss Wallace. You did the damn thing. You raised an icon.
Yeah. RP Voletta Wallace. All right,
Mhm.
moving on to the big. We talked about last time we were talking about the Super Bowl halftime show and our excitement. The Super Bowl
Mhm.
has come and passed, and we it has come, it has gone. The Eagles won. Surprisingly, no one was expecting that, but they did.
Right?
Congrats to them. And Philly. But what we really want to talk about
Right?
is the halftime
Right?
show featuring Kendrick Lamar and the SZA.
Mhm.
And how can I forget featuring Samuel L. Jackson? That was a surprise
Okay.
guest for me. All right, so yeah. First of all, I of course was excited. Of course, I was completely okay with him doing the halftime show. I know there's a lot of drama about the whole Little Wayne situation because it was happening in New Orleans. But to me, it totally makes sense. He had the biggest moment. He was like one of the biggest. He had a big moment last year, and he has an amazing catalog. So when I saw that he was going to do the halftime show, I was like, yeah, why? Absolutely, why not? Right?
Right?
And so yeah, what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson opened it up as Uncle Sam. Um, he jumps out of the black GNX car that's on his most recent cover. He did the song. Remember our debate? The big question
Mhm.
for us when
Yes.
going into this, the big question for us is he or won't he? Because there was threatening of the type of lyrics and stuff that could get him in trouble.
Lawsuits and everything. Yeah.
But he did it.
Yep,
He,
he did
he,
it.
he
He didn't give a shit. He looked right dead smack into that camera and said, "What?"
he did it. And so my here's my okay, I'll go through my kind of like quick review, which I kind of already started it, and then you can give your kind of review. So when
Mhm.
I'm going to stick with my review of it because I gave when I saw like okay, it might elevate it to an 8 because when I first saw it, my first pure watch live, watching the halftime show live, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I'm one of those folks who didn't love the set list. I'm
Mm.
one of those people
Mhm.
because he has such a big catalog. He has
I know.
massive songs from even before Damn, from Good Kid, Mad City, How to Pimp a
Mhm.
Butterfly, and he did not. I don't think he did one song from anything before Damn, and that hurt me. I hurt me because I was looking forward to at least swimming pools, at least like
Some.
or Good Kid, Mad City, at least like that's like come on. But he did a lot of albums, and I think as a business move, and say as an artist who's staying true to his vision and his message as of 2025, I
Mhm.
commend you for doing what is true to you. Respect, mad respect.
Right. Right.
I'm just saying as a audience member,
Mhm.
I felt when you have big artists do a halftime show,
Mhm.
you're excited for them to do the hit.
Right. What? Like.
I want the hits. Listen, I
What
know
the hell
Kendrick.
else do we want? Like.
And this and
Come
this is
on.
somebody who knows his catalog
Right?
very very well. I know his catalog and I love his catalog, but I wanted
Can we get the hits,
the
please?
okay. So I'm gonna just say I'm gonna upgrade my level at first when I told Kim 7 out of 10. But when I
Yeah.
think of the whole picture and the
Mhm.
message. Now I'm going to include
Mhm.
the message. I got it was kind of, the message was clear, but I'm going to move it to an 8. And the only reason I can't go off on it is because I'm sorry, the set list had too many songs from GNX, a new album, and I wanted some more of the songs that I came to love from him. Uh
Right?
and I'll leave it at that. And I think there was a lot of message. We know there's a lot of messaging with black bodies, black men. What we're seeing, the message to America, particularly black
Mhm.
Americans. And my that's my review. Now, I'll let you give your review and then we'll talk about the backlash and conversation. You can go ahead with yours, actually.
Okay. So I did want to say first that the Eagles, the quarterback that brought that
Ooh,
team to
yes. How
win
could I forget? How
was
could I forget?
Jalen Hurts, which is a black man.
Jalen
Okay.
Hurts. Yes.
And let me tell you, he fine as fuck. Like the
Yep.
man is good looking. Like he's
Yeah.
really good looking
That
guy.
song's like,
Right?
yes.
Right? He's a good looking guy. And honestly, he's all about the black woman. It seems like he has a whole leap of women that manage his team. And he brought the Eagles, which was. I couldn't have predicted that they
Mm-hmm.
won, and they did, which congratulations to him. Thank you for bringing it home to the Eagles peoples.
Mm-hmm.
But the halftime show, okay, so initially when I saw it, I gave it a 7. We were both even.
Mm-hmm.
Then I rewatched it twice, and then I elevated it to an 8. Now, in terms of the messaging, because I'm big on imagery. I'm big on
Yes.
imagery, right? And if you go back and you listen, you'll see that imagery is a lot to me. And I must say that the imagery that I saw that he produced was fabulous. It was thought provoking, right? And it was profound. If you
Mm-hmm.
really look deeper into what he was trying to say through the different images that we saw, which was a part of the overall performance, right? So I elevated it to an 8.
Mm-hmm.
The set list was garbage. The only thing that saved his ass was "We're Not Like Us" at the end.
Okay.
I wanted to fall
Not TV
asleep.
off. Not TV off at the end. It's because the second
Mm,
last song was not like us, and
oh,
then
sorry,
TV off.
sorry. So the second last song was "Not Like Us."
Mhm.
Turn the TV up. Then
Yeah. Dun,
yeah,
dun,
right.
dun,
Yeah, it
dun.
was nice. It was, but here's the thing: is that when I think of being in a stadium at a football game or any sort of game, right? You want to keep your crowd hype. And I'm
Yes. Yeah. That.
sorry,
Mm, mm,
he only got that at the very end,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. That was my issue.
And that's why I said the set list was garbage, because there's so many songs that Kendrick could have, like, there's so many that he could have popped out that would have kept the crowd like really going, right? And
Mm-hmm.
just hype, like swimming pools, like you said
Ooh,
earlier. Like, come
ooh,
on, come
come
on.
on.
Like, I was expecting something. I was expecting a lot more than what he was giving in terms of the set list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else kind of compensated to me for him not having the set list that I wish he would have had. Now, a lot of people are saying, he should have incorporated, New Orleans, their culture
Mm-hmm.
into his set. I kind of agree with that. I do, but you can't really expect that for someone from Compton. Like, you just can't, right? So he did what he did because that's who he is. And that's why I'm standing firm on the 8 again, because
Mm-hmm.
he did do what was true to Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
However, Kendrick, you're at a football game, bro. You're at a football game. Okay? Like, people they're not trying to get too deep in the halftime show. You know what I'm saying? So it was nice that you did do that, but it would have been even better if you had put in at least another 2 songs, that people could recognize you for, right? So,
Mm.
like we said, an example, we said
This
swimming
he didn't
pools
even
or
do
pimp
bitch
a
kill.
butterfly, something,
Bitch don't
man.
kill my vibe. Bitch don't
What?
kill my vibe. Come on.
I know, right? I was so sad because I was like, that's it, Kendrick. That's what we're doing. We have to wait to the bitter end for some excitement, because that's how it felt.
Although
It.
I do like the song that from Black Panther that he has with SZA. That was another nice
Me
song.
too. To be honest, it felt like that song with SZA was the beginning of the hype.
That's when it started get. That's true. That's when it started turning over. Because that's at that just before that point. I'm like, okay, time
It
to
was
pick it
like, Lord
up.
Jesus, I'm
I
about
was like,
to
time
drop
to pick it
sleep
up.
here.
Time to pick it up.
I'm
And
about
then
to drop sleep here, sir.
he did pick it up
so
after.
when SZA came, I was like, okay, let me okay. And then I was just I was disappointed with the choice of songs, but I think that Kendrick was using this world stage to be political, and I can appreciate that, but it is a football game, and no offense to Kendrick or
But I
anything,
also
right?
think outside of the political, I do think there was a capital. Like he was also promoting his tour. He was promoting
He
his
sure
tour.
was. He
Hmm.
sure was. He sure was. But you have to understand your demographic, like where you're at, like what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not just a regular concert. This is the halftime show of the Super Bowl that is internationally looked at.
Hmm.
So it's a great platform to make a political statement. It sure is. But you're also at a football game in a country that has been dealing with politics for like I'm on 10 with these damn politics since before, when they were running Kamala and Trump. Like we've been
Hmm.
on a political like roller coaster for at least 8 months. So this is like a break from that. The Super Bowl is like something fun and
Hmm.
something that should be, like, like it wasn't until the end, the
Hmm.
last two songs, that I was like, okay, mustard, okay, but for the most part, I was like, okay, Kendrick, you could have done so much better, my friend. You really could have. And I've seen you do better. I've
Hmm.
seen it. The performance overall, though, by Kendrick, I will say he has great breath control. He's able to perform. He's not one of those people that just stand at the mic. Like he's able to be interactive with the crowd, which is good.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm staying with my 8.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy. I think I'm good with that. I'm
Yeah.
good with that
Yeah.
because a different set list would have made it like a 10 out of 10.
What?
But
He wouldn't have been toppable. I'm telling you, he wouldn't have been toppable if he had taken some different songs and just, I don't know. I don't know. But I think it was more of a political move that he wanted to make versus, and using his music to do that. And you have so many albums that, how could you just focus on this latest one? Like, really? Sorry, friend. I'm sorry. I couldn't get down with
mm.
that a whole way,
Although I think he did a piece of I think he did a little bit of DNA, right? Did he? I got loyalty and royalty inside my DNA. I
Yeah,
know he
but
did humble.
it felt like just a snippet.
It was a snippet. Okay, it was a snippet because I know I feel like I heard it.
I did hear it, but it was
Okay.
just a little snippet, like just a, like,
Okay.
again, I think it was a political thing, and so
Yeah.
when we heard these little snippets, along with what the dancers were doing, and
Yes. Yeah.
along
The
with the
dancers.
crowd,
If you paid attention to the dancers, there was a lot.
and that's why you heard those things, but it was, he was making a message, like he was
Yeah.
using that to make a message, so it
Yeah.
wasn't a full song, it was a snippet.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Well.
I got excited a little, and
Mhm.
then yeah.
Yeah, because Humble, DNA, the Damn album alone, like I said, I was like, ooh, you grazed over Damn? Ooh, you grazed over Damn? You needed to do at
I,
least two full songs from Damn.
Right,
Like
I didn't even feel like it was a graze over. I think like it was like a short mention. Like I'm just mentioning. Oh, remember this? Yeah, but
yeah.
back to this.
And
Yeah.
even like from Mr. Morel, like he had a song called N95 that was pretty big. But anyway, we can't belabor the point that we didn't love the set list. But
No.
okay, so now the fall, what do they call it? The fallout. Now the fallout. White America?
Oh,
White America was like, what? What?
what the hell is going on at the football game? Um,
What is this?
It wasn't for you, white people. Sorry. I'm just gonna have to put it out there for you. I'm just gonna say it. I know there's listeners that are probably, of other races that listen to us, and I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but his message was only for black people. Sorry. It just was. You could either use it as an educational thing for
Yes,
you.
yeah, and some of them did. I want to say, you know what? A lot, like, just as much people who as much white people are like, what the hell is this?
Right?
I don't get it. This is the worst shit I've ever seen on the half
Oh my god.
on the Super Bowl. This is
Right?
the worst. Blah blah
Oh
blah.
man. Okay.
There's also a group who is like, you know what, I didn't understand at first, but when I looked into it, I appreciate it, I get it, and whatever. And you know what? All them white folks was looking up them jeans, those Celine jeans he was wearing.
Right?
Everybody, the women, the men were looking up those jeans. So there was you were watching something, okay?
But the jeans did look good on him, though. I must
They
say.
look the bell
Like,
bottoms.
they
They're
did.
13. Everybody looked at the Celine jeans, 1,300 pair. I think they're women's. I guess it's a cut he wanted. I think it doesn't matter. It's a cut if you want a certain cut, but they're $1,300 Celine jeans, and everybody's been talking and looking for them and wearing them. And I've seen the videos. It's actually heartwarming because it's mostly, and it is like white America. I've been seeing. I mean, like Black America too. But I think people who are enjoying it, and like it's kind of countering that negative energy, but by some folks who are kind of like, trying to be negative about it. At the end of the day, you're not always gonna love who's performing at the halftime
No.
show. There have been times where I'm like, I know this artist is probably big, but I would have rather somebody else to enjoy it.
Mhm.
But we just know we're not going to enjoy the halftime show every year. We've been lucky. I mean, me
Mhm.
personally, as somebody who's a part of hip hop culture and Black American who loves Black American
Mhm.
music, it's been a treat these last few years. Let me put it
I'm
that
telling
way.
you.
But I
Mhm.
think next year we better get ready for some hillbilly. No, I'm just kidding. We better get
No.
ready. Let's just get ready next year. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Listen,
I'm
I'm
okay. It's
okay.
okay.
Listen,
And that's
for
okay. I don't need to have a good a show, halftime show that resonates with me every year.
no.
Why isn't that okay with you?
Well, this is the thing, and it's like how many times has it gone super political during the halftime show? Like, really and truly. I think if I recall, Beyonce when she had Formation,
Ooh,
that
Beyonce.
that was
Ooh,
a little
ooh,
political.
that was they. What? Ooh, the
I
people.
remember they were dragging her all over the damn
They
place.
were
So, mad
mad.
as shit. Okay, so I
They were
remember that.
mad because that was actually the first that album that Formation was on, which I believe was it Lemonade or was it Beyonce. I can't remember which album Formation is on, but
Beyonce, I believe.
it was on Beyonce. That's the first time she really started to be a little bit pro black. She was before it
Right,
was she was very more subtle. Like she wasn't very
right,
outwardly with the pro
right,
blackness, but that's when her first like that song Formation was where it
right.
was like it was blatantly clear that it
That
was a
this was for Black women or
yeah
people.
pro,
Period. Um,
yes,
but yeah, no, but and really and truly, look how long ago that was.
that
Right,
was a while now. If I
right.
think about it, that was long ago.
And that was and even when you like in comparison to Kendrick and his what he's saying in his halftime to what she was subtle. She was subtle
Yes,
in comparison,
yes,
right? And
yes,
he
yeah,
is just he is in your face and I love it. I'm here
yeah.
for it. Now, in terms of the white people out there who didn't like the halftime show, just understand it wasn't for you. It just wasn't for you.
Uh-huh.
Now, how I can kind of understand where they're coming from is that, in the last year, politics has been heavy
Yeah,
in
people
the
want
States.
something easy, and yeah, I
You
hear
want
you.
something like it's a football game. You want some fun and something, that's go lucky type of thing. And I think that's what a lot of people that didn't like it, and it wasn't just white people, because there were some black
No,
people who were like,
yes,
no, that
mhm.
wasn't it. But I think that they were looking for fun, something to take their worries away, not have to think so political. And I can understand that, right? Because it's a football game, ultimately. However, this is the stage to make this type of message be known. Okay, this is the stage, and it doesn't come across all the time. And before Jay-Z was out there, making sure that there were black performers, okay, they were far in between,
Mhm. Yeah.
very far in between. So I'm sorry, you got many, many decades of who you wanted to see up there, and unfortunately, this time around, you didn't want to see Kendrick because the black message was too much for you to tolerate. But you know what? It is what it is. And he was up there and he had 130,000 3 million people. Okay,
Yes.
look on the
Most.
halftime show. That's in
Mm-hmm.
history. So you can say
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to say. You cannot like it if you don't want to like it. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. But at the end of the day,
You
numbers don't
see,
lie.
that's what you said. The 133 million views. That is the most watched halftime show ever.
Okay.
So then it makes me wonder. I say, why the people them? Why the
They're
people?
vexed because they want something light and go lucky, and
Yes,
he
yeah,
wasn't
sure.
that.
He wasn't that. Don't
He
worry, you'll get
wasn't
it next
that.
year. You'll get it next year, friends.
Right? You'll have a Billy Joe Bob somebody up on the stage next year. Trust me, they'll make sure of it. But the message was loud and clear. And you know what? It's funny because when I think about how many black players that there
That's
are
the
in
and
football,
that's how I justify it. Like sometimes it's like I want to. Sometimes like when I feel myself wavering and being like, oh, I guess they just want something they can relate to. No, the NFL. Sorry, I yelled that. The NFL.
I heard the
No,
echo.
you heard the echo. The
No,
NFL
I
is
agree with Jeanette.
over. It's over 50%. Like it's probably in. I think it's in the 40. It's in the 45 to 50% range of black players.
No, it's
And
actually 60 to 70, my dear. Black players run this shit. Like they run this shit. So why can't they have a performance that
sorry,
they
just over.
relate
I
to?
just I looked it up. I want because I don't want to be inaccurate. I want my no to stand. Over 50, over 53 in 2003. This is from 2003 data. It's probably more, but let's just stick with this. Over 53% are black, so that's the majority.
Uh,
And if you want to round up for the 2 years, we could probably make it 60.
I'm just
Still,
gonna say 60.
yeah.
Okay, because that's over.
It's
That's
two. That
almost
it's we're
20
two
years
years
ago.
from that. We're 2 years on that. Yeah,
You know, you say did you say 2003?
2023. 2 years.
Oh,
No.
23. Okay, sorry.
So,
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say 60. I'm gonna
yeah.
call it 60. We're
Mhm,
over half.
mhm,
Okay, so why can't we as well have performance at the halftime that we can, vibe with? Here's the thing: is that what like I understand that the people wanted fun and go
mhm.
lucky, and they want to
Well, these
hear
are
the
not. You know
honky
what?
tonk singers, but
It's not
here's
fun and go lucky times right now.
exactly, and I think that's what ultimately, how could you expect him to be lucky go, this funny go lucky type of performance when you are not in the midst of lucky times. This is not a time, this is a very political time, and I think more and more black people are standing up, and they're starting to wake up, and they're starting to realize. And yeah, Kendrick, I'm sorry, you spoke to the group of people, whether your set list was good, bad, or in between, you were able to capture 133 million people's attention. And with that, you made a message. You see, as black people, in one breath, we say, when you have a platform like that, you have
Mhm.
it's a, you're supposed to, an obligation to
Yeah.
say something for the black people and the blah and the blah. And then when we do, you have black people out here saying, man, you're too political. It's the halftime show at the football game and the blah and the blah.
Mhm.
And so I have to side with Kendrick. Yeah, I wish it could have been a different set list. He would have
Yeah.
got 10 out of 10 from me because I love Kendrick as a performer, as an artist.
Oh yeah.
I love the message that he's trying to say out there, that he's trying to get across. And to be quite honest, as black people, now is not the time to be shucking and jiving and
Nope.
pretending and
Nope.
hiding our
Nope.
head under the sand. Now is
Nope.
the time to listen to what the hell this brother has got to say. And he put it on. He sure did. But there were times where I was like, Kendrick, do you have to be so cold? Like when he looked in the camera and he said, hey,
Yeah, that was
Drake.
crazy. Yeah, that was.
I was
There
like,
was your happy
shit.
go lucky moment. There was your
Right?
lighthearted moment. Everybody had that screenshot that has been memed like crazy.
Right? Hey, Drake.
That smile,
It's like, Jesus.
that charming smile where he looks at
Oh
the camera. He's
my.
like, "Hey, Drake," and the point is like, "Jesus,
Jeez.
damn."
It's like, if you didn't think I was talking about you, let me just clarify. Hey Drake.
Hey Drake.
Okay. And I thought that there were parts of the performance that was funny, that was lighthearted.
Yes.
I do. However, we need a message to be sent. A message needs to be sent. And if this is the platform, I'm glad Kendrick did it. But you know what mostly I like about Kendrick, from the get-go, is he's an artist that can provoke thought.
Yes. Yeah. Pulitzer Award winning. Let's not forget
Let's not. Because that's exactly what he did. That's
that.
exactly what he did. He went and performed. He had everybody and their mother. Even now, we're talking about it. He has put people's minds to think
Mm.
and stop being just, going along with what's going along. No, stop and think outside of the box. And so Kendrick, I thought that you were awesome overall. I know there's lots of people who might disagree with me, but the imagery to me was brilliant. I think you are a brilliant artist. I want you to continue doing what you're doing. You are thought provoking, and at the very least, that's what every artist should aim for. And you hit it on the head. You sure did. For me, you hit it on the head. You could have changed up the list though, like put some swimming pools up in there, like pimping a butterfly, something, man, something, something other than what you did. You could have shaken it up just a little bit. But hey, overall, I think he did pretty good. If you ask me, um, I'm not American and I'm not from Louisiana, but I think he did pretty good.
He did amazing, and I think sometimes, and we were talking about this for another situation, but sometimes you get knocked down. I'm referring to Lil Wayne now.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, like you said, that some of the folks over there were those are some of the naysayers of the performance as well. And I get it; it's more personal for them, because they wanted their fave
Mm-hmm.
to get their chance. I think this is a good calling for
Mm-hmm.
Lil Wayne. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
Lil Wayne as a icon, a hip hop artist, and icon, and legacy act to me, and really a prodigy if you really think about
Yeah.
his whole
Yeah.
career and his catalog. He is worthy of it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying like he's not. I think him as an individual, as a performer, and what he's put his body through and his mind through, he's he's done some damage to himself.
Yeah.
And he needs to get healthy. I think
Yeah.
if Lil Wayne were to get like a healthy one, like people not listen. I mean, I don't know. People know that he has a addiction to lean. Like I feel
I
like
was just
everybody
gonna
knows
say,
that.
put down the damn lean.
Put down the lean. So if he were to put down the lean and turn around and get himself healthy and build up his stamina,
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do it. But the Lil Wayne that we know of and how he performs now,
Mm-hmm.
did you see Kendrick was sweating?
Okay.
Kendrick was running around. He ran. You know how many yards this man was running around? The whole half of the field. The man, like,
Shoot.
I'm just saying, and like
I know little
I
Wayne
think
wouldn't have been
Lil.
able to do that. Mm-mm.
So so back to what you're saying for those folks in Louisiana. I think there's still space for Brain. He just needs to get healthy, and I hope that he gets his day. That's all I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah,
He will
I
get
do
his day.
too.
If he prepares himself, there's no reason why he can't get his day. But anyway, kudos to Kendrick, and
Mm-hmm.
I might have to check him out when he's on tour. I think he's coming to Toronto. I might have to check him out. Like it's gonna
Right?
be a crazy show. So anyway, we'll move on to just a small story that I found interesting about our queens. One of our queens in acting, Miss Angela Bassett.
Yes.
She
Mm-hmm.
recently did an interview with Town and Country, and a headline has been making its way across the blogs where she opens up about her reaction and during her 2023 Oscar loss to Jamie Lee Curtis. And at that time, she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Wakanda Forever.
Mhm.
where, sorry if you didn't, this isn't a spoiler alert. Listen, the movie's been out for over 3 years.
Right?
Queen Ramonda dies. All right, Queen Ramonda
Okay.
dies.
If you don't know that,
But up until the point, if you haven't watched this movie yet, you ain't gonna
I don't
watch
know
it.
what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing.
So anyway, up until the point she dies in that movie, ooh, it is a class. I mean, to me, it's so funny because I hate to say it, but like when she was nominated, it was a a nominating worthy performance, but she's done so much more that I was actually a little bit like, well, they're nominating her for, and because it's a Marvel movie, I'm sorry, but Marvel movies
Mhm.
generally don't get nominated for Oscars. So I was surprised when she was nominated, and it was more because it was a Marvel movie beyond
Mhm.
her performance, because her performance was moving. I mean, I had tears in my eyes a couple of times, even before she died, from her performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but anyway, she was nominated and she lost to Jamie Lee Curtis, who I believe was for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And when they called Jamie Lee Curtis, there
Mhm.
was like, um, she looked disappointed. It wasn't like very, very visible. It was very
Right.
minute. It wasn't like a very like thing, but it was kind of like, oh, here we go. These It was kind of like, y'all motherfuckers is playing with me kind of look, right?
Right?
It wasn't like, it's nothing obvious, but it's like you're clearly like, are you motherfucking kidding me?
Right?
Like,
Again.
as
Shit.
much as that expression can be expressed without being obvious, let's put it
Right.
that way. So anyway, she was asked about that in this interview. I don't know why they're asking about this, and I don't know, it was something that was big at the time. So the interview asked her um why, like, while some people when people were criticizing her for showing her disappointment on camera, um and they wanted her to address it, and she said, quote, "I found it interesting that I wouldn't be allowed to be disappointed at an outcome where I thought I was deserving." And she adds, everything everywhere so and she adds that she believed that her portrayal of Queen Ramonda in Black Panther, and essentially that she believed that was her year.
Yeah.
I love applauding, and then quote, "I love applauding people, but in that moment I have put in time, put in good work over time. I didn't think it was a gift. I thought it was a given."
Hmm.
And, that's what she was saying. The good thing is the following year, because I remember we were talking about this when we were doing our pre-show chat,
Mhm.
and I wanted to check. So yeah, she was given an honorary Oscar the following year, and she used that as a moment to acknowledge all the trailblazing Black actresses like Ruby Dee, Cicely Tyson, that have opened the door for her, but were never
Mhm.
acknowledged by the Oscars.
Right?
And she said when she got that, it was standing on their strong spiritually fortified shoulders that I often was sustained. And I thank them for their sacrifice, every doubt, every disappointment, every rejection, every triumph that I know they
Mhm.
experienced along the way. Because had it not been for their resilience, continuing to fight through their fears and the uncertainty, and their willingness as they fought for every role, I would not have had a representation of what was possible for me.
Mhm.
And I like that she used that moment to not only acknowledge her journey, but everybody else before her who never
Yeah,
got to
because I'm
get that
sure
acknowledgement. Yeah.
that all of those women that she mentioned
Felt exactly like her at
were
some point.
also disappointed just like her
Exactly.
at one point
Exactly.
in their career. And
Exactly.
so it was nice that she took the time to acknowledge them. So, even if they're looking down from heaven, they can be like, you know what? Thank you, Angela. Finally, somebody give me my just dues. Um, and why is it that a black woman's emotions, everybody feels like they can regulate them? Like everybody out here seems to think that they can regulate a black woman's emotions. The woman was disappointed. What's wrong with that? Why are we even talking about it? You know what I mean? Like, why was a big deal made of her reaction?
Yeah. But the disappointment that you see
I
in
understand, but there's so many people who have been in the same position she was, and it wasn't a topic of discussion.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to
Yeah,
say is,
yeah.
if you see the video, Kim, it's not even nothing. It's not an, it's barely anything. It's just, you just it's like you literally see an emotion come over her, but it's not expressed in her face. It's
But
just, I don't know what you call it.
you can see it on her body. Like you can see
Yes,
that
a
she was
wave.
crushed.
Yes, yes, and but she was graceful. She was still graceful. Because she has to be. To your point, she was not even allowed the little piece of emotion that
Like,
come
and
into her.
she didn't even tap into it, bro.
No, she didn't. She contained herself.
Okay, like a true professional.
So, but
Like a true
anyway,
professional.
God has blessed her with an amazing talent and a grace
Right?
a grace that may have faltered a little, but you know what? God got her, because the next year they understood the assignment. They
Right?
made sure she got her lifetime achievement, and
But
she
she's
has,
entitled to that.
yeah.
She's entitled to
Just
feel
like
how
we
she wants.
when we
That's the part that gets me. And
why can't she feel disappointed?
why? Uh, uh, I'm sorry. Mel Streep wasn't ever disappointed. You
Bitch,
never
I'm
caught
sorry,
her.
but
You never caught her being disappointed. Like, come on. The thing of it all is she wasn't being aggressive about it. She wasn't being rude about it. She didn't even tap into it. She
no.
kept it into herself. And that's what we do all the time as black women is we're always told that we have to keep it into ourselves. And even when she did do that, you guys fed into something that shouldn't even be a part. Like there should be no conversation about
Mm,
her reaction because she didn't jump off the wall. She didn't cuss nobody out. She
mm-hmm,
kept her composure.
mm-hmm.
Why are we like, why is this, why was this ever even talked about is what I'm trying to say. That's what I don't understand. And that's why I feel, and I've seen it time and time again, where a black woman's emotions, everybody seems to feel like they can regulate them. They have the authority over them. Like this woman held her composure and you still have a problem? For
Mm.
real? She kept it classy and you still talked about it? For real? Like, come on, man. Angela, I think that you are an awesome actress. And I know that you probably went in it to thinking, I deserve. But just like all the ones before you, they've played in your face. They've played in all of these great actresses before you's face many, many, many times. So I'm sorry, girl, but the one thing I will say is you should have went in there knowing that they might not give this to me.
Mm.
They might play in my face yet again. Now, do at this stage in her career, like I was saying to you before, I can see why she probably thought there ain't nobody else like me,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And therefore, hello, give
Mhm.
me my just dues.
Mhm.
But it never got saw, and I can understand her emotion. She kept it classy still. But I will say, Angela, how many times they gotta play in your face before you start taking this seriously? These people ain't trying to give you your accolades. They're just not. We as the people will give you your accolades. I'm sorry, you just can't expect that from them because they played in your face before. Many times. So, I'm sorry you felt let down, but God did turn it around. He turned it
Mhm.
around the
He
next year.
corrected it the next year. Yeah. So anyway, it was interesting, and
Yeah, it
God
is
bless her
interesting.
and her talent and her career. And I
Right?
know she has much more to give. She actually has a new show coming out on Netflix, so I'm excited. I'll definitely check it out. So kudos, Miss Angela Bassett.
Yes.
It's okay to express yourself, my
Yes, it is, girl.
auntie.
Because you actually deserve that award. I'm sorry, you did.
Okay,
Sorry.
we're gonna do a quick thing for music
Yes.
news. Drake and Party Next Door released a collaboration album.
Garbage. Yeah.
I think it was on Valentine's Day. And it's called Some Sexy Songs for You.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the thing is, okay, I have this thing with and first of all, it's 21 tracks. Listen, once you go past 17, I'm
15. I'm 17. 15. I'm like, shit, man, it's too long, guy.
yeah. So that's and this is something with okay. First, let me focus on Party Next Door because Party Next Door, this is my issue with him, with his music. Every time, because he has some songs that I really like. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a Toronto, well, GTA. I guess he's Mississauga, but whatever. We'll
Mm-hmm.
call it Toronto guy. And so I'm always gonna because check him out. You know, he's a talented person, and he's
Yes.
produced some. But his albums, for the love of God, they sound all the same. Every
Yeah.
track just blends. There's no distinct songs,
Yeah.
and that is the same. That's the truth for this.
Yeah. Sure
But if
was.
you're gonna have 21 tracks, of course you're gonna have two or three that will stand out. Thank God. But generally, the album just merges into one long
Sounded like
Party
one
Next
long
Door
song to
song.
me. That's what it sounded
One
like.
long Party Next Door song featuring Drake. So anyway, listen to it, and that's my issue. This everything sounds the same. I do like Pimmy's Dilemma. Give Me a Hug is the big single that everybody's talking about, where he's calling out Joe Budden and calling Melissa Ford a six legend. Um, Give Me a Hug, Pimmy's Dilemma. He has a song called with a Spanish kind of sounding song called Meet Your Padre, and then finally, um, is it Meet Your Padre? And then there's a song with Yeba, Die Trying. And those are the standout ones for me. Everything else sounds the same. Um, I don't know. I don't get it. And I'm focusing more on Party Next Door because it sounds more like a Party Next Door album, and
Mm-hmm.
Drake is just on there featured. Um, and yeah, that's it. And this has always been my issue with Party Next Door. This track's just all blended into one long song. Boring.
Yeah, I listened to it all and I felt like I didn't skip the song. Like
Hmm.
I just felt like I kept like I'm going through the list of songs, but I felt like I wasn't skipping to the next
Yeah,
song. Like it
but
just felt like
everything
the
sounds the
same
same.
song over
You're
and
just
over
like, what
again.
song? And you can't say, because sometimes that's why maybe the Spanish song that stood out to me, because I'm like, okay, this is a different flavor. So I'm like, I pay attention to the name of the song. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, and it's featuring a Spanish singer. So then I
Mhm.
know. But everything else, like if it sounds, everything else just blended into one thing.
Yeah, the first 5 and I was like, okay, this is what we're saying. I just, I don't know, like Drake, after all of this with Kendrick, this is what you come out with? I don't know.
I think, but honestly, I think this was recorded a long time ago. To be honest,
Oh,
I kind of feel like it was
okay.
something waiting in the,
Maybe.
and then he added some, like maybe a majority was already recorded, but then he added some newer songs so it wouldn't sound dated. Because
Right.
it might explain why it sounds, first of all, like a typical Party Next Door album, where, like, do me a favor, you go back and listen to one or two other Party Next Door albums, and you tell me if you feel the same.
No,
But
I could even in the Party Next Door songs that are really popular that I could this is a
yeah,
very much Party Next Door. Very much.
the
And that's
sound,
why
right?
that's why it should have been Party Next Door's album that
Hmm.
featured Drake.
Not a combo, not a
No,
collabo.
not a combo. Like it seemed like they were both trying to take a little bit of the credit, but I think that
Hmm.
Party Next Door was so influential on this particular project that Drake should have just let him have the album
Mm.
and be a feature.
Maybe she's trying to just help him, because I don't know. I don't know. Party, like, he's cute, and I do think he has a unique thing, but he needs to switch it up, man. Like, I don't know. That's my issue with him. I listen to his albums and I'm bored. He'll have a
Yeah.
couple of songs. Don't get me wrong. Every album he has will have like two or three hot fire songs that
Right.
are
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Everything else, I'm like, what is this? What are we doing here? This is boring.
Right? Well, that's how
This
I
is
felt. That's how I felt
the
about
whole
3 or 4.
time.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay." And even Drake, like he sounded so I don't know. Like he's not in it anymore. You know what I mean? Like he's just not I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like the verses that I did hear from him, I was like, "Hmm, hmm, Okay. Heard this kind of before. I've heard this before. It
Hmm.
wasn't original. It
No,
lacked.
it wasn't an original
No.
from either of them really.
No. Right?
Hmm.
Right. That's how it felt to me. But overall, I mean, hey, it's nice that Drake is still trying to stay in the music business, but you
Yeah,
could tell that
and it's been
he's not in it
successful.
anymore.
He's topping the charts with the album is topping the charts. So I think it's a good confidence boost for him.
Well,
So
let it boost you too
it,
high before Kendrick drops something else. Like shit.
I think Kendrick's done with him. That's what you remember the game.
Uh, I don't know.
I think Kendrick's done with him. I think that was like the final. You know when you
Icing on
finish
the
the
cake.
burial and you pour the dirt on the coffin.
Yeah.
And I think the dirt on the coffin helping will happen that the like it was when you fill it up and you do that last shovel of dirt
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pat it down with the shovel.
Yeah, especially when he said, "Hey Drake."
Yes, like
That
he
was
got
the last
complete.
dish. That was the last.
He got completely buried, and I think that was a good. That was a perfect. Like, can you imagine? You can't have a bigger cap to an ending of
And
a
I hope
battle.
it is an ending because
Yeah,
after a while it's just gonna seem like you're just because a lot of people were making reference to Kendrick. Oh well, you're talking about another man, and that was the biggest part of your performance. And so now that it's all capped up, we
he
hear it
didn't
all,
make
we
it.
get it
He
all.
yes,
I
yes.
hope he moves on from it. That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
sure he will. I
I
think
hope so because I thought he
yeah.
would have by now.
But I think he has. I think he had to do. Remember, the song was so big. Remember, we said
That's
it's
true.
like he said, even if he didn't want, he had to perform that song. Like,
Yes,
remember,
that's
like he
true.
didn't really have a choice. But now this is a perfect end to that era, and
That's
he can
true.
move on with GNX, and which he's gonna go tour right now.
That's true.
And I'm, you know what I mean. So yeah. But anyway, I think it
I
was a
hope
good
so.
confidence boost for Drake is that this album has been doing numbers, and we'll see. But it was for
Yes.
me it was a typical boring Party Next Door album. I'm
Yeah,
gonna just
I
say that.
agree. I agree.
So yeah, that's it. That's all I had to say about it.
Yes. Well, okay. Well, then you know what? We'll move on into the ending part of our show, and this workout session is going to be a little bit different because of Black History Month. It is ending shortly next week, to be exact, and by time we record again, Black History Month will be officially over. And so we do want to end our show with a Black History Month ending, I guess.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we're going to just discuss, like we did before, some things about Black History Month, maybe hidden figures that are out there that we should look into and get to know more about. Um, and so this Black History Month, um, I was more in tuned with the imagery that I was seeing about Black history and learning
Mhm.
more about history and Black history in general, and different figures that we have come across that are just they seem to be absent from our school textbooks. Like I just don't understand why they hide it from us. But the history that we do have is so um there's so much of it, and we've done so much in history as a community, as Black people. And let's just maybe take some time to pay some homage to those who have come way, way, way before us and who have paved the way for us to be here talking about Kendrick Lamar and his performances and so on. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go first as some
Yeah.
people that I wanted to mention. So one of them is Alexander Miles. So Alexander Miles was born in Ohio. He was born in 1838 in Pickaway County, Ohio. And he unfortunately died in 1918 in Seattle, Washington. Now, what is he famous for? He is actually famous for improving the elevator with
Mhm.
automatic doors.
Mhm.
So all this time when you're going up into these big buildings and stuff like that, we have him to thank. Okay, for our
Mhm.
elevators that help transport us to each floor.
Mhm.
He was able to make the actual doors automatic because at one point elevators had to be opened by hand,
Mhm.
which was not always safe. And so um, he was able to invent this, and he revolutionized the elevator and the safety of it since 1887 is when he did that. So he's just one of the people that we have to be thankful for our everyday access and what we have. Another person that I did want to mention is Sarah Boone or Booney. She was actually born in 1832. She's an American inventor, and in April of 1892, she obtained a United States patent for her improvements on the ironing board. So where you would iron your clothes was actually improved by this woman to help women, particularly for women's clothing and how we our sleeves and our dresses. So she was able to patent this improvement. So what we know today as what our typical ironing board is, even in a dry cleaners, they have the same pattern. And so that was actually established by a black woman, by, like I said, the Sarah Boone or Booney. It's Boone.
Hmm.
So she died in 1904. Um, and she was able to what does it say here? The shape and structure allowed for you to fit sleeves and reversible. No, wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm reading it right here. To fit a sleeve,
Hmm.
and if it was reversible, so one could iron both sides of the sleeve. So the shape of the actual ironing board is what she actually improved,
Okay. Yeah.
so that we are able to use it to iron our sleeves. And if you had a dress, to iron it and to put pleats into pants and so on and so forth. So these are two um, African American people that unfortunately were just forgotten about. So I'm glad we're having the chance to mention them now. Um, and there was something else I have to look it up again. But in the meantime, while you're telling
Hmm.
us your two,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wanted to give one more from actual Canada.
Hmm.
So while you're going ahead with your two,
Okay.
then.
All right. So yeah, mine's kind of have a Canadian touch.
Oh, okay, good,
So
perfect.
my first one is a woman by the name of Zanana Lorraine Akonde.
Okay,
And she was a pioneer in education, politics, and social justice here. And what
okay,
she's most known for, and she was the first Black woman elected into the Ontario Legislative Assembly as an MPP representative in 1990. 1990.
mm-hmm,
And so she, moved up the ranks in politics to become an MPP in the NDP party,
mm-hmm,
while also, her parents are immigrants. She was born and raised in Toronto, but her parents are immigrants. And something that she was passionate about was teaching. She was a teacher before she got into politics, but something that probably drove her to become a teacher was that both her parents were teachers when they were in their respective home countries, which is
okay,
Saint Lucia and Barbados, and they worked as teachers. But when they came to Canada, unfortunately, they were prevented from continuing their teachers because at the time they didn't hire people from the African diaspora to hold teaching positions in Toronto in those days, right?
mm-hmm,
So obviously that put something in her because not only did she go to school, but she got her master's in education
mm-hmm,
and became a teacher for the Toronto School Board and a principal for many, many years.
mm-hmm,
She also was a co founder of Tiger Lily, a
mm-hmm.
newspaper for visible minority women, and once co hosted the Arts Against Apartheid Festival. She
Mm-hmm.
has played many roles in our province and our city of Toronto, and most successfully was an MPP for the NDP, the New Democratic Party, the NDP party. So kudos to her for making that journey as the first Black
Mm-hmm.
woman MPP. And it's interesting to see the party that it was for, the National Democratic Party. I guess it
Oh,
makes sense. It technically makes
okay.
sense, but because that's our more socialist party. But yeah, so it was interesting learning about Miss Zanana Akande
Mm.
with her groundbreaking life, and she also, for her efforts in the community, excuse me, in politics, community, and education, is a member of the Order of Canada.
Okay.
Yes, so it was interesting to learn about her story. The second person we might have heard, we always talk about her in Canadian history, and also she has American roots. Miss Mary Ann Shad. Um,
Okay.
her
Yes.
full Mary Shad, because we have a
Yeah,
school
we
in
have a
our
full
community.
school.
We
Yeah.
have a school
Mm-hmm.
in our community called Mary Shad, but it's always interesting when I found out her story, because she was an American Canadian anti-slavery activist, journalist,
Okay.
publisher, teacher,
Uh-oh.
and her biggest she has a lot of accolades, but I think what's the most impressive thing to her about her, for me, why I wanted to bring her up in our unsung heroes, is I think she's acknowledged a lot for her family, and not really her, but really her family's participation in the Underground Railroad and helping people move and adjust in Canada. But she's also the first Black woman publisher in North America.
Wow.
Yes, we know her in
That's
Canada,
that's big.
and but
Mm-hmm.
she's, I think the big thing that I feel kind of that gets buried about her story is that she was the first Black woman publisher in North America, even though it was in Canada. She was in Canada at the time, but in the cross America and Canada, she was the first Black woman to have her own publication. She
Okay.
was also the second Black woman to attend law school in the United States, and the newspaper that she started when she started her publication was called the Provincial Freeman, and that was in 1853, which she published weekly in Southern Ontario.
Wow.
It advocated for equality, integration, self education for Black people in Canada and the United States.
Wow. Okay.
And so, yeah, her family originally came from Delaware. Her father was her parents were both free African Americans. They were free because of where they were. They were in the east. They were in the west. Sorry, the east. They were in the north of America. So obviously they were free people during the time where slavery was probably still happening and across going into emancipation. But her parents were free Americans, and they eventually moved to Canada in a place called Buxton, which I believe for us, I think it's in the Windsor, London area, to be honest,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where they settled with a lot of other free Americans with that came from the Underground Railroad. So her family was a part of those people who came from the Underground Railroad, and they also helped people as they going through coming through the Underground Railroad, assisting those fleeing from slavery in the United States. So yes, that's Miss Mary Shad, a very interesting
Okay.
story, and her father's story is even more interesting. I was reading into it, but yeah, she was a the big thing is her publishing the Provincial Freeman as the first Black woman publisher.
Wow. Okay. The last one that I wanted to mention was a little. It's a for me when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Being that my mom is Jamaican, did you know that there was a Jamaican man by the name of Jackie Mittoo? He was the
Mhm.
first artist to record a reggae album in Canada. He
Okay.
actually recorded it. He was a songwriter from Kingston, Jamaica, and he moved to Toronto in 1971. And in 1972, he had an album called Washborn. No,
Mhm.
but Washbone.
Mhm.
And it was marked as the most significant moment in Canadian music history. In 1972, he made this album. And I was like, wow, because I always thought to myself, how did reggae come to Canada?
Mhm.
Because reggae had its own little scene in Canada, according to my parents, so that's what they tell me. it had its own little scene at one point. And I
Mm.
thought, well, did, West Indian people from Jamaica, did they bring it up to Canada, or was it developed, like, did we make our own little scene here?
Mhm.
And it's not so much there anymore, but Little Jamaica, okay, which has been gentrified, unfortunately, but Little Jamaica at one point was the hub for most West Indian people, whether you were
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Jamaica or not.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It was the hub. And so to find out that there were actual artists that were producing music, Jamaica reggae in Canada, and it wasn't just brought over, right? Like they set up shop here. So that was really cool to learn. Because I always wondered that. I mean, your parents, they play the songs from back in the day when they were teenagers and stuff like that. And you always thought to yourself, well, did that come from home? Like from your home? Or was it made here? And so I now know that, yeah, well, this Jackie Matu, he was the starter, I guess, the foundation of reggae in Canada. So
Cool.
reggae is really dear to my heart.
Mhm.
So it was nice to hear, oh, okay, they set up shop here for real in 1972, man. It wasn't playing around. They said,
Mm.
listen, we need our music. We need to hear our
Mm.
music. So they set
Mhm.
up shop and they did just that. So, and he was able to change the Canadian music history for life. And so that's nice to know. But overall, speaking of all of these lost figures and these figures that people, we just don't hear about. I'm not discrediting MLK or Malcolm X, or Rosa Parks. They did the damn thing, and they deserve to be spoken about, and their legacy to be appreciated for years and years to come. But there are a lot of people that don't ever get mentioned in the same platform as them, and they
Mhm.
had, great contributions to the community. And so it's nice that we, do have Black History Month, and that we have a moment where we can acknowledge them, for all of their efforts, and to just know that, a long time ago it was really hard for Black people to do just about anything. So
Mhm.
when you are able to accomplish something, it was a real accomplishment, because they had to go through so much in order to first hold on to their accomplishments, that somebody didn't come along and try to steal it from them, and second, to actually accomplish it, because at some point in history we weren't able to read. It was against the law to even touch a book. So to come from that and still be able to produce such talented people who revolutionized the world as we know it. If you think about the day-to-day things that we have, a Black person has had their hand in it somewhere, whether it's the stoplight, whether it's the alarm system, whether it's the elevator that you took upstairs to your office or to your house. We had a hand in it. And I don't always like to talk about Kanye, but one thing I'll take away from Kanye
Mm.
is we don't necessarily have to look at the past all the time, but it is good to look at the past, and it's good to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. And as a people, if we have more and more of these moments where we talk about all that we have contributed to the world, you know, um, our history didn't just start on a boat. Our history is great, it's grand, and we should talk about it, and we should pass it on to the generations coming, and pass it on to one another. Look how big and grown me and Jeanette is. We haven't heard about some of these people before, but now we are. And so I think we should keep that trend going. And so for Black History Month, I think, I'll take a page out of Kanye's book, which isn't
Mm.
very many, but I'm going to look forward, because I know
Yes.
where we came from. So I'm going to
Black
look
future.
forward.
Black future. Yeah.
Right? Black future all the way. And so we do appreciate everybody listening to our episode, especially wrapping up Black History Month. It is a great month. We are a great people, and we should never forget that. And so we do hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. So whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful. And we'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye.
Bye.